Intro Angela Lansbury, an actress whose career spanned nearly 8 decades, leaving an unforgettable mark on film, television, and theater. She wasn't just a Hollywood star. She was a true icon who reinvented herself time and time again, defying industry expectations. From her early days as a young British actress navigating the golden age of Hollywood to becoming a Broadway sensation and later a beloved TV legend, Lansbury's journey was nothing short of extraordinary. But before the fame, before murder, she wrote, and before the countless accolades, who was Angela Lansbury? Let's take a deep dive into the life and legacy of this remarkable woman. Childhood and family. Angela Lansbury was born on October 16, 1925, in the Regent's Park area of central London. She came from a distinguished family with strong artistic and political ties. Her mother, Moyna McGill, born Charlotte Lillian McEldowie, was a well-known actress from Belfast who had an established career on the West End stage and appeared in several films. Her father, Edgar Lansbury, was a wealthy timber merchant and an influential British politician who served as the mayor of Poplar. Her grandfather, George Lansbury, was a prominent political figure, best known for leading the Labour Party in the 1930s and championing social justice causes. With such an upbringing, Angela was exposed to both the world of performing arts and political activism from an early age. The family was part of the upper middle class and enjoyed a comfortable life in London. However, Angela's childhood took a tragic turn when, at the age of 9, she lost her father to stomach cancer. The death of Edgar Lansbury left a deep emotional scar on her, shaping her personality and life choices in profound ways. She later recalled this as the most defining event of her life, saying, "Nothing before or since has ever affected me so deeply." Devastated by the loss, she coped by retreating into a world of fantasy, immersing herself in books, films, and role-playing. This early form of escapism became her refuge and ultimately set her on the path toward acting. Following her father's death, her mother struggled to provide for the family. In an effort to find stability, Moyna McGill became engaged to a Scottish colonel named Lecky Forbes, and they moved to Hampstead. Despite the changes in her personal life, Angela's passion for storytelling and performing only deepened. She attended South Hampstead High School from 1934 to 1939, but considered herself largely self-taught. She devoured books on literature and drama and spent countless hours watching films, becoming, in her own words, a complete movie maniac. She would later describe this period as one where she educated herself through the arts rather than formal schooling, developing a keen understanding of characters and storytelling. As World War II escalated, life in London became increasingly dangerous, particularly during the Blitz. By 1940, with relentless bombings threatening their safety, Moyna McGill made the difficult decision to evacuate Angela and her twin brothers, Bruce and Edgar, to the United States. Angela's half-sister Isolde chose to stay behind in England with her husband, actor Peter Ustinov. Moyna secured a job as a supervisor on the RMS Duchess of Atholl, overseeing the evacuation of 60 British children to North America. The family arrived in Montreal, Canada, in August 1940 before making their way to New York City. There they found support from a Wall Street businessman, Charles T. Smith, who provided them with financial assistance and a place to stay in his home in Mahopac, New York. Recognizing Angela's passion and talent for acting, her mother encouraged her to formally study drama. Angela received a scholarship from the American Theater Wing, allowing her to enroll at the Fegan School of Drama and Radio. This was a pivotal moment in her early career, as she honed her skills in classical theater. During her time at Fegan, She performed in stage productions such as William Congreve's The Way of the World and Oscar Wilde's Lady Windermere's Fan. These experiences not only refined her technique, but also deepened her love for performing. She graduated in March 1942, marking the beginning of her journey into the entertainment industry. Following her graduation, Angela and her family relocated to an apartment on Morton Street in Greenwich Village. However, their financial struggles persisted, prompting them to move once again, this time to Los Angeles, in search of better opportunities. While Angela dreamed of becoming an actress, she also had to support her family. Her mother took a job at Bullock's Wilshire department store, and Angela joined her, working there to help make ends meet. Life in Los Angeles was not as glamorous as they had hoped. Their situation worsened when Moyna lost her job, leaving the family entirely dependent on Angela's modest weekly earnings of $28. Despite these hardships, Angela remained determined to break into Hollywood. The financial struggles she faced at this stage of her life instilled in her a deep sense of resilience and discipline, qualities that would later define her long and successful career in film, television, and theater. Career? Angela Lansbury's early career in Hollywood was a mix of rapid success, critical acclaim, and growing frustration with the limitations imposed by the studio system. She was just 17 years old when she made her film debut in Gaslight, 1944, portraying the cunning maid Nancy. Her performance was so compelling that it earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress, a remarkable feat for a newcomer. Hollywood immediately recognized her talent, and MGM quickly signed her to a 7-year contract, initially paying her $500 per week. This was a significant salary for a young actress at the time, reflecting the studio's confidence in her abilities. During her time at MGM from 1945 to 1952, Angela Lansbury appeared in 11 more films. But despite her early successes in Gaslight, 1944, and The Picture of Dorian Gray, 1945, she struggled to secure leading roles. The studio kept her as a B-list actress, often miscasting her in roles that did little to advance her career. She was repeatedly assigned to play older, villainous, or morally dubious women, despite being in her early 20s. This frustrated Lansbury, who longed to portray more likable, romantic, or comedic characters, the kinds of roles that actresses like Jean Arthur were given. One of her notable roles during this period was M in The Harvey Girls, 1946, a musical western starring Judy Garland. While the film was a hit, Lansbury's singing voice was dubbed by Virginia Reese, and she was again cast as a sly and manipulative character, a pattern that MGM continued to enforce. She appeared in several more films, including The Hoodlum Saint, 1946, Till the Clouds Roll By, 1947, If Winter Comes, 1947, 10th Avenue Angel, 1948, The Three Musketeers, 1948, State of the Union, 1948, and The Red Danube, 1949. But most of these roles were secondary and lacked depth, failing to showcase her full potential. Despite her frustrations with MGM, Lansbury still managed to display her versatility by taking on period dramas, historical films, and noir thrillers. She was loaned out to United Artists for The Private Affairs of Belle Amie, 1947, in which she played a Parisian seductress, and later to Paramount for Samson and Delilah, 1949, where she portrayed Delilah's scheming sister. These roles allowed her to step outside of MGM's usual typecasting, but they did not lead to the major breakthrough she had hoped for. As MGM struggled financially in the post-war years, budget cuts and declining ticket sales led the studio to further limit its roster of stars. By 1951, Lansbury's dissatisfaction with MGM had reached its peak. She was cast in Kind Lady, 1951, as a villainous maidservant, and in Mutiny, 1952, as a French adventuress, but neither film significantly impacted her career. Recognizing the limitations of her film career, Lansbury began expanding into radio and television. In 1948, she starred in NBC University Theater's adaptation of Human Bondage, followed by the lead role in their 1949 adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. This transition marked the beginning of her multi-platform career, which later became one of her greatest strengths. She also made her television debut in 1950, appearing in an episode of Robert Montgomery Presents, where she played a character in A.J. Cronin's The Citadel. By 1952, Lansbury's contract with MGM ended, and while the studio had not given her the leading lady status she deserved, she had built a reputation as a talented and reliable character actress. This period of her career laid the foundation for her future successes in theater, television, and more dynamic film roles. By the early 1960s, Angela Lansbury had firmly established herself as a respected character actress. But Hollywood's tendency to cast her in roles far beyond her actual age limited her ability to become a traditional leading lady. Despite this, she delivered one of the most defining performances of her career in The Manchurian Candidate, 1962, where she portrayed the ruthless and manipulative Eleanor Iselin, the power-hungry mother of a brainwashed assassin. The role was chilling, complex, and completely transformed Lansbury's on-screen persona, earning her a third Academy Award nomination and solidifying her reputation as one of the most talented actresses of her generation. Lansbury made her Broadway debut in Hotel Paradiso, 1957, a French farce that allowed her to showcase her sharp comedic timing. However, it wasn't until 1966 that she truly found her place on the stage with Mame, a musical adaptation of the novel Auntie Mame. Taking on the title role, Lansbury brought charisma, humor, and warmth to the part, wowing both critics and audiences. Mamie was a runaway success, earning her rave reviews and her first Tony Award for Best Actress in a musical. The role was a turning point in her career, proving that she was not just a character actress but also a leading star in her own right. Following her breakthrough success in Mame, 1966, Lansbury proved that she was not just a film character actress, but a true Broadway leading lady. She had the rare ability to combine powerful acting, impeccable comedic timing, and an extraordinary stage presence, making her a box office draw in an era when film stars did not always find success on the stage. Her next major Broadway production was Dear World, 1969, a musical adaptation of Jean Giraudoux' play The Mad Woman of Chaillot. The show, which blended whimsy and political satire, saw Lansbury take on the role of Countess Aurelia, an eccentric Parisian woman fighting against corrupt businessmen. Though the musical itself received mixed reviews, Lansbury's performance was hailed as brilliant, nuanced, and deeply heartfelt. Her portrayal of the quirky yet determined Countess earned her a second Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical, solidifying her reputation as Broadway's most bankable female star. Even though Dear World was not a long-running hit, Lansbury's ability to elevate a flawed production with her sheer talent demonstrated her undeniable stage dominance. In 1974, Lansbury took on one of the most demanding and legendary roles in musical theater, Rose in Gypsy. The character based on real-life stage mother Rose Hovick is one of the greatest female roles in Broadway history, previously made famous by Ethel Merman. Stepping into such an iconic role was a major risk, as Merman's performance was seen as definitive, and Lansbury herself was not traditionally associated with brassy, domineering characters. However, Lansbury completely redefined Rose, making the role her own. Unlike Merman's loud and imposing interpretation, Lansbury's Rose was more nuanced, manipulative, and psychologically complex, a mother driven by desperation rather than sheer aggression. Critics and audiences alike raved about her electrifying performance, particularly her show-stopping rendition of Rose's Turn, a song that demands raw emotion, vocal power, and sheer theatrical force. Her performance in Gypsy was widely considered one of the best in her career, showcasing her dramatic range, intensity, and depth as an actress. Lansbury's portrayal of Rose was so acclaimed that the production, originally planned as a West End revival, was transferred to Broadway due to overwhelming demand. Though she did not win a Tony for Gypsy, the role further cemented her status as one of the greatest stage actresses of her time. While Lansbury had already proven her versatility, her most audacious and critically acclaimed performance came in 1979, when she starred as Mrs. Lovett in Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street. The role of Mrs. Lovett, a conniving yet oddly charming pie shop owner who partners with a vengeful barber to murder unsuspecting customers, was unlike anything Lansbury had done before. It required a blend of dark humor, sinister wit, and impeccable musical timing. Working with Stephen Sondheim, Lansbury brought both comedy and horror to the role, making Mrs. Lovett both grotesque and strangely lovable. Her performance in Sweeney Todd was a masterclass in character acting. She fully transformed herself physically and vocally, adopting a Cockney accent, exaggerated facial expressions, and a wicked sense of humor that made Mrs. Lovett simultaneously hilarious and terrifying. Her chemistry with Len Cariou, who played Sweeney Todd, was mesmerizing, and their duets, especially A Little Priest, where they gleefully discuss baking people into pies, became Broadway legend. Critics universally praised Lansbury's performance, and she won her 4th Tony Award, further proving that she was one of Broadway's greatest performers. Many consider Sweeney Todd to be her finest stage role, as it combined comedy, drama, and musical brilliance in a way that no other production had before. Angela Lansbury's transition to television in 1984 with Murder, she wrote, marked a major turning point in her career, allowing her to reach a new generation of audiences and solidify her place as one of television's most beloved leading ladies. Up until this point, Lansbury had enjoyed remarkable success in film and theater, but this move into a long-running TV role gave her an unprecedented level of mainstream visibility and influence. At 59 years old, an age when many actresses found it difficult to secure leading roles, Lansbury defied expectations by taking on the role of Jessica Fletcher, a widowed mystery novelist who becomes an amateur detective. The show's premise, centered around a sharp, warm-hearted, and endlessly clever woman solving crimes in the quiet town of Cabot Cove and beyond, was a breath of fresh air in the detective genre. While most television sleuths were hard-edged men or gritty professionals, Jessica Fletcher was approachable, intelligent, and charming, making her a unique and instantly iconic character. Murder, she wrote, was an instant success, running for 12 seasons from 1984 to 1996, and becoming one of the longest-running and most-watched detective series in TV history. Week after week, Lansbury's performance as Jessica Fletcher captivated audiences, combining wit, warmth, and an effortless sense of authority. She played the role with a perfect balance of intelligence and likability, making Jessica Fletcher one of the most enduring female protagonists in television history. Her work on the show earned her an astounding 12 Primetime Emmy nominations, yet she never won, a fact widely regarded as one of the greatest oversights in awards history. Despite this, she did take home 4 Golden Globe Awards for the role, further cementing her place as a television legend. Beyond its longevity, Murder, she wrote, had a profound impact on Lansbury's career. It allowed her to stay in the public eye well into her 60s and 70s, proving that an older actress could still be a major leading star. It also paved the way for other strong, independent female characters on television, influencing later crime-solving heroines like Olivia Benson in Law & Order, SVU, and Temperance Brennan in Bones. While Murder, she wrote, defined Lansbury for television audiences, she also became beloved by younger generations through her work in animated films and family-friendly roles. One of her most iconic contributions came in 1991 when she voiced Mrs. Potts in Disney's Beauty and the Beast. Her performance of the film's title song, Beauty and the Beast, became one of the most memorable moments in Disney history, winning an Academy Award for Best Original Song. Lansbury's warm, soothing delivery made the song an instant classic, and to this day, her rendition remains one of the most beloved Disney musical performances of all time. Later in her career, she continued to appear in family-friendly films, including Nanny McPhee, 2005, where she played the eccentric great Aunt Adelaide, and Mary Poppins Returns, 2018, in which she made a delightful cameo as the Balloon Lady, a nostalgic role that perfectly suited her legendary status. Even after decades in Hollywood, Lansbury never abandoned her first love, the stage. In 2009, at the age of 83, she returned to Broadway in a revival of Blythe's Spirit, playing the eccentric medium Madame Arcati. Her performance was met with widespread acclaim, and she won her 5th Tony Award, proving once again that her theatrical brilliance remained as strong as ever. 4. Scandal. In November 2017, amid the rise of the Me Too movement and increased awareness of sexual harassment in Hollywood, Angela Lansbury made comments that ignited widespread controversy. In an interview with Radio Times, she suggested that in some cases, women might bear a degree of responsibility for sexual harassment due to the way they present themselves. She remarked that women have gone out of their way to make themselves attractive and that this could sometimes backfire. These statements were perceived by many as implying that victims were partly to blame for the harassment they endured. Her comments triggered immediate backlash, with critics expressing shock and disappointment that an actress of her caliber, who had spent decades in the entertainment industry and had been a vocal advocate for strong female characters, would hold such a perspective. Many felt that her words contradicted the progress being made in discussions about workplace harassment and gender equality. Some viewed her remarks as outdated and out of touch with modern conversations about consent, power dynamics, and accountability. As the controversy escalated, Lansbury responded by issuing a clarifying statement. She emphasized that she had never intended to suggest that harassment was acceptable under any circumstances. She stated firmly that there is no excuse whatsoever for men to harass women in an abusive sexual manner, and expressed regret if her remarks had been misunderstood or caused offense. Despite her efforts to clarify, the incident remained a point of contention in discussions about the evolving dialogue surrounding harassment, victim blaming, and generational differences in perspectives on gender dynamics. 5. Marriage. Angela Lansbury's personal life was shaped by 2 significant marriages, each playing a crucial role in her journey through love, heartbreak, and unwavering resilience. At just 19 years old, Lansbury entered her first marriage with actor Richard Cromwell, a well-established Hollywood star 15 years her senior. The two wed in September 1945, and while Lansbury was deeply infatuated, Their marriage was short-lived. Less than a year later, she returned home to find that Cromwell had left without warning, leaving behind only a note apologizing for his departure. Devastated and confused, she struggled to understand what had gone wrong. It was only later that she learned the painful truth. Cromwell was gay and had hoped that marriage would help him suppress his true feelings. Unfortunately, this was not the case, and the marriage quickly fell apart. Despite the heartbreak, Lansbury bore no resentment toward Cromwell. In later interviews, she reflected on their relationship with remarkable understanding, acknowledging that he had not intended to hurt her. Over the years, they remained on good terms, and she even maintained a friendship with him until his passing in 1960. Following the dissolution of her first marriage, Lansbury found love again in an unexpected place. In December 1946, she attended a party in Ojai Valley hosted by actor Hurd Hatfield, where she was introduced to Peter Shaw, a charming and ambitious English actor who, like her, had come to Hollywood in search of success. Their connection was instant, and they quickly developed a strong bond. Unlike her whirlwind romance with Cromwell, her relationship with Shaw was built on a foundation of trust, shared aspirations, and a deep emotional connection. In August 1949, Lansbury and Shaw married in a ceremony held at St. Columba's Church in London. Their union proved to be enduring, lasting more than 5 decades until Shaw's death in 2003. While Shaw initially pursued an acting career, he later transitioned into talent management, finding great success in representing high-profile stars, including Katharine Hepburn. His career shift not only provided stability for their family, but also allowed him to offer Lansbury guidance and support as she navigated the ups and downs of Hollywood. Together, they raised 2 children, Anthony and Deirdre, and Lansbury also embraced her role as stepmother to David, Shaw's son from a previous marriage. Although they had a strong and loving marriage, they were not without their challenges. The late 1960s proved to be a particularly difficult period when both of their children became entangled with dangerous influences in Los Angeles, including involvement with the infamous Charles Manson cult. Recognizing the severity of the situation, Lansbury and Shaw made the drastic decision to move their family to Ireland, seeking a quieter, more stable environment where their children could escape the destructive path they had started down. The move proved to be life-changing. Both Anthony and Deirdre overcame their struggles, with Anthony later becoming a successful television director who would go on to work on Murder, she wrote, the show that defined his mother's television career. Throughout the years, Lansbury and Shaw remained deeply devoted to one another, their marriage marked by mutual respect, unwavering support, and shared triumphs. In addition to being life partners, they also collaborated professionally. Shaw later became the executive producer of Murder, she wrote, further strengthening their working relationship. Lansbury often credited him as her rock, the person who provided her with the encouragement and stability she needed to balance her illustrious career with her responsibilities as a wife and mother. 6. Other relationships. Outside of her family, Angela Lansbury cultivated deep and lasting connections within the theater world. Unlike in Hollywood, where she often felt constrained by typecasting and undervalued by the film industry, Broadway became a place where she was truly recognized for her immense talent, dedication, and work ethic. She built strong relationships with fellow performers, directors, and playwrights, earning widespread admiration for her professionalism and generosity. Colleagues frequently spoke of her kindness, her willingness to mentor younger actors, and her ability to command the stage with an effortless presence. Her collaborations with renowned figures in theater further solidified her reputation as one of Broadway's most respected and accomplished actresses. While she thrived in her professional life, her personal life took a more difficult turn during the 1960s. As her children grew older, Lansbury found herself facing a crisis that no amount of career success could shield her from. Both of her children, Anthony and Deirdre, became deeply entangled in the growing drug culture of the era. What had started as youthful rebellion quickly spiraled into a dangerous battle with addiction. She watched helplessly as her children drifted further into destructive lifestyles, unable to break free from the influences surrounding them. The situation became even more alarming when Deirdre fell under the influence of Charles Manson's infamous cult. Like many young people at the time, she was drawn to the counterculture movement, searching for a sense of belonging. Unfortunately, her path led her dangerously close to one of the most notorious figures of the era. Lansbury later recalled how Manson had an unsettling hold over Deirdre, and as the group's violent tendencies escalated, she feared the worst. Knowing that time was running out, she realized she had to take drastic action to protect her children. In a bold and life-changing decision, Lansbury uprooted her entire family, leaving behind the fast-paced world of Hollywood and relocating to a quiet rural village in Ireland. She believed that removing Anthony and Deirdre from the toxic environment they had become entangled in was the only way to save them. In Ireland, they lived a simple and isolated life, far from the temptations and dangers of Los Angeles. Lansbury devoted herself to helping her children recover, ensuring they received the support and guidance they needed to turn their lives around. Her decision proved to be a turning point. Both Anthony and Deirdre eventually overcame their struggles, with Anthony later pursuing a successful career in television production and directing several episodes of Murder, she wrote. Looking back on this period, Lansbury expressed no regret about stepping away from Hollywood to focus on her family. For her, the well-being of her children was always the most important priority, and she remained proud of the steps she took to give them a second chance at life. 7. Death. In 2003, Angela Lansbury faced one of the most profound losses of her life when her husband, Peter Shaw, passed away due to congestive heart failure. His death marked the end of a partnership that had lasted more than 50 years, both personally and professionally. Shaw had not only been her devoted husband, but also her closest confidant, a trusted advisor, and a key figure in managing her career. Their bond had provided Lansbury with a sense of stability in an industry known for its unpredictability. Without him by her side, she found herself grappling with immense grief, and for a time, she considered stepping away from acting entirely. However, despite the overwhelming sorrow, Lansbury ultimately chose to continue working, finding solace in the profession that had defined her life. She immersed herself in new projects, using her craft as a means of coping with the void left by Shaw's passing. Over the following years, she remained a beloved presence in the entertainment industry, taking on a variety of roles across different mediums. She lent her voice to animated films, including reprising her role as Mrs. Potts in Disney-related projects, and made notable television appearances in series such as Law & Order, Special Victims Unit, and Little Women. She also returned to her theatrical roots, captivating audiences in productions such as Blithe Spirit, which earned her another Tony Award in 2009. Even as she grew older, her love for acting never faded, and she continued to bring warmth, intelligence, and charm to every performance. Lansbury's later years were also marked by widespread recognition of her immense contributions to the entertainment industry. In 2013, she received an honorary Academy Award, acknowledging her extraordinary impact on film. It was a long overdue honor for an actress who had been nominated 3 times but had never won an Oscar. She was also awarded the Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire, DBE, by Queen Elizabeth II in 2014, a moment that she described as one of the greatest honors of her life. Even in her final years, Lansbury remained active and deeply respected, continuing to inspire new generations of performers with her enduring talent and remarkable work ethic. On October 11, 2022, just 5 days shy of her 97th birthday, Angela Lansbury passed away peacefully in her sleep at her home in Los Angeles. Her death marked the end of an era, but her legacy as one of the most versatile and beloved actresses of all time remained firmly intact. Over the course of nearly 8 decades, she had left an indelible mark on film, television, and theater, redefining what it meant to be a successful actress beyond traditional Hollywood standards. Her ability to reinvent herself, from a young character actress to a Broadway sensation and finally a television icon, made her one of the most enduring figures in entertainment history. Her passing was met with an outpouring of tributes from fans, colleagues, and admirers around the world. Many reflected on her incredible body of work, from her chilling performance in The Manchurian Candidate to her legendary portrayal of Jessica Fletcher in Murder, She Wrote. Others celebrated her warmth, grace, and generosity, remembering her as a mentor and role model who had paved the way for countless artists. Although she was no longer physically present, Angela Lansbury's influence continued to be felt across generations. Her performances, spanning nearly a century, ensured that her presence would live on through the stories she brought to life. Whether on screen, on stage, or in the hearts of those she inspired, she remained a symbol of resilience, talent, and unwavering dedication to the art of performance.